What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I had a really juicy video for you guys, but I have to postpone it. It's going to sound a bit odd. I'm not going to re-record it because I think it was a really good commentary. I don't want to scrap it and make it sound any different, so I'm going to push it back probably a few days because, as you guys know, Season 2 is indeed today, so we're going to be checking that out. I'm going to have a few videos, more so specifically about Season 2, but I'm still going to post it sometime, later down this week, but I had to push it back because the XDefiant developers gave us the patch notes for Season 2 that you're going to be seeing today, so that's what we're going to go ahead and discuss. As always, if you guys enjoyed today's video, leave a like, subscribe, hit that bell so you can be notified on more content just like this. We're gonna have tons of Season 2 content on this channel, and don't forget, I will be streaming Season 2 today, so if you want to see my live impressions of the season before I go ahead and make a YouTube video about it, by all means tune to the live stream. I should be live around 12 p.m. Eastern time. I think the update starts at 1 p.m. Eastern time. By all means, you guys can find a link to that channel down in the description of this video. Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, let me shut the heck up because there is a lot of stuff for us to cover. Now, I didn't really screenshot absolutely everything because it wasn't like, some of the things in these notes weren't really too interesting in my opinion. So I kind of hyper-focused the things that I think will be affecting the gameplay the most. But as you can see, this is the whole gameplay section here. Fixed an issue preventing some players from sliding after a jump if they selected the hold option instead of toggle for crouch and sprint in the settings menu. Corrected a controller issue that stopped players from sprinting if they fired while quickly switching to ADS in mid-sprint. Victims of melee attacks now suffer a movement penalty of half speed for a quarter of a second. Exactly enough time to say, ow, hey. Updated the 6 preset loadouts in the loadout menu, so they offer full sets of attachments for the primary and secondary weapons. I'm not going to read too much further into that. It's basically, the preset weapons are going to have more attachments. Tuned major and daily challenges. Now when you complete a major challenge, the next one is automatically activated, so you don't need to select it yourself, which is phenomenal, so you don't have to wait until the game is over and then select the next one. Like, if you knock one out in one game, you could potentially get more progress to the next one in the same exact match. Great. And fixed a weapon progression glitch that wasn't granting weapon XP points for kill assists. Another fantastic one in my personal opinion. So, some solid gameplay changes here. And I like about the melee section as well, because I feel like meleeing in this game isn't that phenomenal. So knowing that if I do connect a melee, I can kind of slow down the enemy and, potentially get a second hit in. So that's good news as well. Moving on to the next tier, the factions. Now we got some faction juicy details. I'm not going to read the Highwaymen because it's just, obviously describing how they're going to be going down. But GSK got a little bit of some, work done here. GS Commando's active defense system was kind of a pain to deploy in tight corners, but now it's not. Thank God. Oh my God, I've been waiting for that. Players can now cancel their active defense system after deploying it, similar to how Libertad players can cancel El Remedio. Also fixed a bug that allowed the active defense system to shoot through soft cover. Interesting enough. Fixed a glitch preventing the active defense system from doing its job against enemy proximity mines. Finally, thank God, man. I noticed that the second it happened, and I'm so glad that they fixed this. So now proximity mines will indeed be taken out by the ADS system. And then fixed a camera resetting bug caused by running into GSK's shock wire. Another one that was really obnoxious. If you ran into the shock wire and you tried to look down and punch it, it automatically jolted your screen back up, looking forward. So you can never punch it. Every time you try to go to punch it, you would jolt back up and miss. It was really obnoxious, so I'm glad that's changed as well. Deadsec here. Spiderbot deployment is no longer canceled if the deploying Deadsec player immediately activates their Ultra. Also, Spiderbot movement sounds have undergone a tune-up to address player complaints that the little face huggers were getting the drop on them because they couldn't hear them coming. To that end, we've increased the volume of Spiderbot footsteps, as well as the radius within which the footsteps are audible. Again, it's positive for me because they annoy the heck out of me, so if they're easier to hear, that's always a plus in my opinion. Decrease the duration of Deadsec's Lockout Ultra from 25 seconds to 20 seconds. Death no longer offers a release from Deadsec's Lockout Ultra. Amazing. Although the duration of Lockout has been reduced to 20 seconds, it now affects enemies who die and respawn during that period. Great, because if you guys don't know, if you got, a Deadsec ult, and it's against you, all you got to do is just kill yourself and you no longer are, you're not EMP'd anymore. So it's kind of annoying, but now it works as intended. If you EMP the enemy team, they have to go through the full 20, 25 seconds, whatever it is, I guess 20 seconds now. And no matter how many times they die, they're not going to be able to reset, which is going to allow good pushes for your team, Because before, it was really a pain in the butt because if you try to make a good push with the Deadsec ult, all people have to do is once again die, respawn and they get their, their passive or whatever it is, their side ability. But now they're not going to be able to do that. You can make a good solid push. I like that. And fixed a glitch that was disabling Deadsec's hijack ability after using it on moving devices such as the Incinerator drone or Spiderbot. Another good one. And we also got some stuff to the Phantoms and Libertad, as you can see here. Removed an exploit allowing some Phantom players to respawn with invincibility if they manage to trigger the AEGIS Ultra moments before death. Fixed the Phantom's mag barrier so it's no longer impervious to the AEGIS's electro scattergun if hit anywhere except dead center. And restored controller force feedback when blocking damage with the Blitz Shield. Also added sound effects to indicate when the Blitz Shield takes damage. Interesting. And lastly here we have the Libertad faction. The effective range of Libertad's helpful Biovita boost has increased to match its visual effect. Great. Libertad's Medico Supremo Soothing Health Mist no longer disperses in mid-air if players deploy it while landing from on high. Fixed a bug locking Libertad players in a zoomed-in ADS state when deploying the Medico Supremo while using ADS. That sounds annoying. In other Medico Supremo news, enemies no longer earn Ultra Cancel points for taking out the deploying player if the late player managed to complete deployment of Medico Supremo as their final heroic act. And finally, the Cleaner's Incinerator drone and Phantom's mag barrier no longer launch facing the wrong direction when deployed under a bad network connection. Now again, I don't know, there were some good nerfs here, and some good changes, buffs as well. Overall, I think the best one is GSK being able to cancel out the ADS system. That is going to be absolutely huge for game modes like Occupy where you're constantly rotating, or TDM. It's going to make them a lot more useful because you don't have to put it down and then you're going to abandon it because all the action isn't near you anymore, and then you got to wait for it to destroy itself, then you gotta wait for it to regenerate. No, if you know the action is moving, you could just cancel it, move on. Love that. But again, some pretty decent changes here. Moving on to the next set of changes, game modes. Not really much here, to be honest with you. Of course, if you want to pause and read it over, by all means, go ahead and do so. But the reason I cropped this one is because of the very last segment there at the bottom of this, picture. As additional encouragement to finish matches, we've added medal challenges for completing arena modes and completing linear modes, both named Complete Game. These new medals bump up Battle Pass momentum by granting a lump sum of XP upon match completion. This right here is an absolute huge one because, again, people do kind of back out on a consistent basis, but this will encourage players to stick through the matches, because we don't want to penalize players for leaving a casual game. That doesn't make any logical sense, right? You're always welcome to leave if you're playing in the casual experience and it's unranked. But I do believe we should be rewarding players who do want to stick through with that and having faster Battle Pass progression. We'll see how much, because again, it might just be such a tiny little smudge that it doesn't really impact enough to where people will stick in games. But that is something that could be adjusted over time, and we've seen the developers very open with this stuff, so I'm curious to see how they're going to handle this and if they might bump it up to be decent enough that, honestly, it will encourage more people just to stick it through and stay in matches and not make it like, a 6v2 situation where nobody else joins the lobby and you're spending 8 minutes running around trying to find 2 people and then down to 1 player and then you can't find them, and forget all that hide and seek nonsense. We need lobbies to stick through, and I think this is a great idea of doing so. Moving on here, we have a few tweaks to existing weapons, ladies and gentlemen. The M44, players wielding the M44 sniper rifle can no longer aim down its sights before the weapon's reload animation finishes. Not bad, it's just to make it look cleaner, I guess. The 6.86 Magnum removed a half-second weapon sway delay when switching to ADS after triggering the jump crouch penalty. That's pretty good, I would say. The M870, you can read that over. They just basically changed a few things for animations. And same thing with the MDR as well, removing aiming obstructions when equipped with the skeletonized cosmetic skin. Basically I have a question. Why is it that every skin that comes out for the MDR messes with the gun somehow? I don't get this, but at least it was fixed. And then a slight reduction in duration of the sniper hit flinch penalty from 0.7 seconds to 0.5 seconds for the M44, L115, and TAC-50. So basically, flinch is going to be a little bit more manageable, okay? So I know some people were really disappointed with the sniper flinch changes, which I didn't really mind. I thought they were really solid, and I snipe. I enjoy sniping, and I could still destroy lobbies with them. But people weren't really too happy about it, so they changed it around. We'll test it out. We'll see how it feels, and I'll probably come back to you guys with some more information about, all that good stuff. Moving on here, they actually messed with some of the attachments as well. As you can see, the muzzle booster got changed around to added short medium range penalty of 12.5%, removed horizontal vertical recoil penalty of 10%, and added ADS speed penalty of 7.5%. 5%. Oh my gosh, no! They're taking my beautiful attachments away. The rapid fire barrel added short medium range penalty of 25%, removed horizontal vertical recoil penalty of 20%, added ADS speed penalty of 15%. And lightweight barrel added short medium range penalty of 10% and removed horizontal vertical recoil penalty of 10%. Of course, if you guys want to read through any of the rest of the stuff, by all means you can. It's not as insane as the nerfs here to the attachments, in my personal opinion. The only thing that I can really point out here that's huge is the last, point there. Eliminated a convoluted exploit in which players could bequeath the damage inflicted by a high recoil, low rate of fire weapon, such as a sniper rifle, to a low recoil, high rate of fire secondary weapon if they swapped these weapons and fired moments before getting face hugged by a spider bot. Kudos to anyone who figured out that exploit. Now kiss it bye-bye. Again, basically this was the exploit in the game. You probably ran into it where a bunch of people are like one-tapping you with, fully automatic guns. You're like, what the heck's going on? Are they cheating? No. It's an exploit in the game where you can basically get the ability of using, an SMG, a pistol, anything, and it'll have the damage of your sniper rifle. And it's absolutely absurd. So I'm glad that got resolved. And I'm glad it wasn't really widespread. I wanted to talk about it, but I didn't. And I'm glad I didn't because I never really saw it. Maybe once I saw people maybe abusing it, but not too often. But again, back to the attachments, man. I love the muzzle booster and rapid fire barrel. I mostly use them on SMG, so I don't think it's going to affect me too much. But I do use the rapid fire barrel on someone. We're going to see, man. We're going to test it out. We're going to find out how it works. Again, this might just be fair. If I'm going to be honest with you, a rapid fire barrel and muzzle booster is supposed to make the gun better at up close and personal ranges. So, I mean, if we're going to be honest here, I guess it's trying to make people use it for those engagements instead of just, that being the meta class. Because if I'm going to be real with you, the meta class right now is basically just stacking a bunch of rapid fire attachments because it doesn't really kill your recoil and you can just get way more bullets out. And then if you use an AR with all that stuff, you could basically just beam people at long range really fast. And then, up close and personal, you can do the same thing. And also, I think that they're doing this because of the new Highwaymen faction, which, their passive is basically the more kills you get, the faster your fire rate is. So I think they're trying to, discourage people from using these attachments and just kind of focusing on using the Highwaymen to give you that bonus to, have that rapid fire speed with no penalties from using these attachments like the rapid fire barrel and the muzzle booster. But again, I want to know what you guys think about all that stuff down below. Moving on here, we got some netcode changes and also social changes. Netcode improved an issue where dying players who squeezed off final shots at an enemy weren't inflicting damage on that enemy, despite evidence to the contrary, such as hearing damage inflicting sound effects and seeing crosshair damage confirmation. So basically, the situations where you die, yet and still you feel like you got a lot more damage off, you're getting the notifications of hit markers, so on and so forth, yet they're left with probably like 50 plus health and nothing happened. That's going to be fixed up, and things are going to be a little bit more accurate, and, it's going to represent real-time gunfights, which is huge. Now, again, I don't know if this is going to really, be huge or not, because we are going to have a lot more updates to the netcode throughout Season 2. They didn't even say that at the beginning of Season 2 we're going to get anything crazy with netcode, so I'm kind of shocked that they implemented something here. They said the middle of Season 2, so, it's good so far to see that they are incorporating something right out the launch, but let's just see. We'll test it out again today in stream, and if you guys want to check that out, link to my Twitch channel down below. We're going to test out to see if the netcode feels any better. And then the social feature, Quick Chat, is now in the game. This feature lets players select predefined messages from an icon-based Quick Chat menu, such as group up or attacking A, and send them to teammates for lightning quick comms. Cool and all, but I just need the ping system, man. This is, it's kind of pointless. I don't really care about that whatsoever. If I'm going to be honest here, really honest, I don't care about that. It's going to be useless in my, personal take. I might not use it as much. Maybe I will. Who knows? I'll try it out. But I think just a simple ping system would really take things a lot further. Moving on here, some audio changes. We made significant changes to footstep and clothing sound effects to address community concerns, starting with balancing all enemy and ally footsteps to be at the same audio levels for sprinting, running, standard movement, and walking, moving while ADS. Crouch walking is silent. That sounds pretty good. Improving the distances at which players can hear these sounds and how naturally they fade in and out with distance. Improving SFX quality in general, such as footsteps increasing, decreasing, with movement speed and sounding muffled on another floor or room. Sounded pretty good as well. The player's own steps and clothing sounds have been reduced in volume. Incidentally, all friendlies 180 degrees behind you are muted. Enable text-to-speech and voice chat on Xbox platforms, tune the condition. all this other stuff, whatever, man. If you guys want to read through the audio fixes again, by all means, go ahead and do so. The top of that is where it really matters. This is huge. Everybody was saying that the footstep audio is extraordinarily inconsistent. It's not solid. So this right here is exactly what we want to see. Again, it's on paper, it looks really solid, but we have to actually play test, try it out, and see if it is functioning a bit better. Once again, another thing that we'll go ahead and test out on stream. And then finally, last but not least, a miscellaneous. Nothing crazy here. Again, you can read it over, pause, the video, but all I really wanted to showcase is the very top one. Players can now skip intro videos when starting the game. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is the banger, is it not? We've all been begging for the ability to skip the intro crap and just get us right into the experience. Season 2 is going to be bringing that to us, ladies and gentlemen. But guys, that's pretty much all I have for you when it comes to the patch notes. This was a lot of information, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we went a month without seeing any updates to this game, so it makes sense on why it's so beefy. I will say it is some filler stuff up in here. It's not, a completely packed, patch notes. It's not like everything is game-changing. But is it juicy? Yes, indeed. We saw a lot of good things that are going to make the quality of life of playing XDefiant tremendously better, and pair all of that stuff with a new season, new map, new weapons, faction, all of the above. This is going to be, honestly, tons of fun to try out, and I hope everything is going to go nice and smooth. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget, subscribe and hit that bell. We are on the grind at 50,000 subscribers, and I really do believe we're going to hit that by the end of the year with your guys' support. So again, hit that bell so you can stay notified on everything Season 2 with XDefiant or even Black Ops 6. And last but not least, again, like I said a million times before, I'm going to be streaming Season 2 probably, very shortly after this video goes live. Probably around 12 p.m. Eastern time. So, of course, if you guys are interested, you want to see my live impressions before I go ahead and post some more content, and you want to see me dissect all of the stuff in the patch notes live and in action, by all means, tune to the stream. I got a link to that channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.